basketball when they've added Buddy Hield and replaced Clay. Buddy Hield is actually playing defense for like one of the first times in his career. He has
I like Buddy Hield.
Dude, he has the motivation to play defense now, and he's always shot the ball so damn well. So I think that I think that addition's a lot bigger than what people give anything credit for.
Yeah.
My pick tonight is Warriors. I think they're hand Cleveland the first losses.
Oh, that is so funny, man.
I'm gonna miss that so much next year. It's gonna be so sad to not see that anymore. But we have to get an intro next year with Josh, with all four of us. And I have to say, I went back through the videos from the playoff shows that we had. There's plenty of good takes that we can have.
There's a lot of good.
There's plenty of good takes, a few psychotic ones. I think he had to go to the bathroom. We'll just make fun of him, whatever he's doing. He's probably dropping some bombs or something. Who knows?
There you go. All right, so let's get the flowers out of the way. Trey, you were regular season champion, postseason champion. I called you the SGA of brokers and basketball before we came on. So let's get that out of the way. You got an acceptance speech or MVP speech or anything like that?
I mean, I do, but I feel like Josh has to be here for this. Like, he's got to face the music on this one.
I think you're right.
And, I got to hold off until we get the whole crew in here. But it was an exciting first season. I will say that for not knowing what to expect, having a great time. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. We're gonna hopefully get a lot more people involved. Trey is pumping me full of ideas to get people out there. Hey, welcome, Josh.
We got plans.
Welcome back.
How we doing?
Good.
Better now that you're back.
Season 1 champion.
Yes.
Great. Oh, man.
How's it feel, Josh? How's it feel?
Trey, I just want to say congrats, man. Whatever your background is that's going on, like your whole little name label there, you just look like you're in paradise right now.
I'm sitting on my throne. This seat is amazing. It's an incredible seat from Costco for the campground. We got I-5 in the background, camping road with the major flag, and I'm just feeling really good, gentlemen. It was a great season. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of drama with the deadline Thursday picks. Some issues with that. Some people not quite making it there, but overall, I'd say that the word that really reflects the two words I think that reflect this season for me would be consistency and sanity, especially in the playoffs. We had some wild takes in the playoffs. I'm not going to lie. There were some moments there where I thought I might be a little crazy. It turns out I wasn't the crazy one. Turns out I had a little more sanity than I thought. But again, as I said in my regular season acceptance speech, I got to give thanks where it's due. I mean, my family has been there every step of the way. My wife supported me, even reminded me a couple times to put my picks in. Just asked me how I'm doing on that, giving me the extra time to study film, to go through the stats, especially the ones that Tommy gave us. My wife was there every step of the way. My kids even. I mean, the sacrifices they made for me to stay up late, potentially miss breakfast in the morning before they head off to school, just so I can watch the games that start at 9 o'clock on the Eastern time zone, which is insane. Just, I'm so grateful, so thankful. I just couldn't be here without the massive support I have around the team. And of course, just great competition that pushed me every week. I got to give my kudos to you guys as well. I couldn't have been as focused and locked in without the accountability of incredible basketball minds like the three of you. So feeling very honored. Very excited for this, and I can't wait for season 2.
This just gave me so much motivation, season 2, to not have to go through this again.
To choose the Suns again. Yeah.
I'm just going to also point this.
Patrick Mahomes didn't get a shout out.
I was going to say I should. I left out the Chiefs in both of my acceptance speeches just for you, Josh, because I know that you might have jumped off the call if I'd have done that. I just
yeah.
Trying to be a friend here, trying to be a pal.
Ready for football season. One could say with your consistency this year, Trey, that you were the SGA of brokers and ball.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Kale mentioned that as well separately, so I feel really
merchant. Trey Griggs,
free throw merchant
about that. Yeah, my mid-range game is unbeatable.
What's your middle initial, Trey, so we can get your full initial?
W.
It is his middle.
So I thought TWG.
It's actually, if we're going to get legal here, it's actually GWG because Trey's not even in my legal name.
They told me this.
so GWG would be if you want to go to the 3 initials, It's either TG or GWG. You can't do GWG3, or you could do TG3 potentially. Maybe go that route. That could be good.
Oh my goodness!
Oh boy,
that's so much fun. So the playoffs. Did I actually get second somehow in the playoffs? Because Oklahoma
Yeah.
State
You did. You
did.
swapped over Tommy because it was a 16-point round, actually 24-point round if you had the number of games right, but none of us got the games right.
Yeah.
But yeah, you leapfrog Tommy there with the right pick in the finals. And I'm proud of you, Kale, because you didn't, falter. Although I will say this, Josh, I have to say thank you because I feel like you really took one for the team. You picked OKC, which was the right pick, so you got the points for it. But then midway through, you switched over to Indy to make sure that OKC won because of the way it went. I mean, you went to the game, you wore one of their shirts. Yeah. You picked them in 7. That to me that was a sacrificial move on your part, and I appreciate that.
You got to do what you got to do, man. So Tommy, I apologize because Tommy, you're in the one spot. If arguably if Halliburton doesn't get hurt,
I know. Man. What a buzz!
That's so sad, man.
And that's all part of the Lyles curse. So next year I'm going to have to factor in the Lyles curse factor, and if I'm going to be able, who am I going to pick next year? If Lyles goes to a game, this could change everything. So
I'm going to Chicago. I'm going to go to the Chicago Bulls game and just turn it around for the Chicago franchise. Tommy. They're going to end up in the second slot.
Listen, if you did that, and if you did that for me, Josh, you would no longer
Fringe forever.
Be labeled with the Lyles curse. It'd be the Lyles turnaround.
That's what we'll do for next year. Just go to the really bad teams' games.
Oh, that's great.
I feel like Tommy, you were a little bit of a good luck charm for Indiana because you went to that what game in Milwaukee when they played Milwaukee?
It was game 4, game 5, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
I think it was 5. They had home court advantage. I think it was game 5.
I think it was 5. Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah. And then they just
went on a tear, man.
Oh.
They did. They went on that run.
They played confidently. They played with no fear. They played as a team. It didn't matter who scored. They just whoever the hot hand. They played some great ball. I'm mildly disappointed that they didn't win. I would have been okay, I think, with either team winning. I'm very happy that OKC won. But man, Halliburton going down, that's killer.
I know.
That's tough.
I want to see that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'll say this real quick and then Kale jump in. I don't remember ever really seeing Achilles tears until Kobe. I'm sure there were some before that. Kobe's the first one I remember. And now it seems like they're happening a little more frequently, not only in the NBA, but in the NFL. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's causing that.
I know they're looking into it, but what I was going to say is the crazy thing is in a couple of years, nobody's going to remember everything that Tyrese did in these playoffs and all of his game winners because they didn't win the championship. And that's such a bummer because he has such an epic run.
I think he had 3 or 4 game winners or game tying shots.
Fires, yeah. Just crazy.
And one playoff run alone. That's wild.
I know.
That's really wild.
Like
they stole so many games on the road, especially. They stole so many games this postseason.
Well, and they were not season, but they were series turning wins because you got the one in New York, you got the one in Cleveland. I mean, those could have gone
taking
the other
OKC way. To 7. Yeah, I mean every one of them were. Yep.
Yeah, it almost turned the finals too because of game 1 when they came back. It's like,
he played a bad game and hits the game winner.
Yeah, exactly. So, what are the thoughts on championship? Because we got some trade stuff we got to talk about, and we need to throw out some crazy bold predictions for next year of just who we think our Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals are now. Way too much time to go.
I will say this, Kale. I went back through the tape of the playoff shows that we had, and I will say,
yes, he did.
The one statistic that is still intact is the home team losing the first 2 games. Still only 5 teams in history have ever done that. In fact, we had, I think, 3 chances this time and had, nobody even get close to that. And so, we'll see what happens next year. But that I'm proud that statistic, especially after some of the takes we had and my very strong stance against those. I'm glad that none of those came through. That worked out well for me.
Yeah. I don't remember much about that. I'm just gonna gloss over that.
there's tape. I've already edited them and downloaded them.
Let's not keep these recorded for the future. Let's just let them just disappear and just let them live out there.
Let's not look back. Let's look to the future, boys.
Exactly.
That's where I'm trying to get, is where Trey keeps going to the past. It's like, I don't know why he wants to relive all this.
Gosh, man, I was just speechless watching that video that you sent of the first round pick against the Mavs. I still think it would have been a really interesting series against the Mavs. I don't think it would have been a cakewalk for OKC, and you just never know, because again, I think it's all matchups, but they earned it, man. It was just one of those things for me. I was like, they're young, they're inexperienced. Jalen Williams, hadn't really proved anything in the playoffs, didn't have a good playoffs last year. So I was just like, I just don't know if those guys will be able to do it. And they did it, man. They earned it. Yeah. And now I'm actually scared. I'm actually scared for the league, because I just feel like now that those guys have one, and they're just only going to get better. I mean, they didn't even, they didn't even, in my opinion, shoot that well.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, no. They have one young and no scar tissue. I think that's important. They have the victory or the experience of winning, but without the scar tissue of losing. That can be dangerous for a young team if they get more confidence. By the way, in case people are wondering what that pick was that Josh made, we might as well just play it for everybody here. Another sweep. Ooh, Tommy,
sweep.
3 sweeps. Ooh. Josh,
we know who you're going
with.
So
your love for Anthony Davis is clouding your judgment.
I know. I'm questionable. I'm questionable on the Thunder, man. I'm very questionable on the Thunder.
Wow.
Really?
Mavs and 7.
Round?
Mavs and 7.
Oh, wow.
Put me down for Mavs and 7.
That's
a big one.
Throw
some money on that one too?
Roll back the tape.
I got to roll my head on that one.
I'll throw down $5 to win, 120.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Mavs and 7. I'll explain my reason. I'll explain my reasoning for this in more detail at some point. But yeah, I just
next Friday.
I don't.
You do next Friday.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
I love Josh's expression.
I know. My favorite is when Josh does this. He goes. You saw it coming when he did that.
Yeah. Building up to it,
man. Oh, so such a great moment on the show. One of the real milestone, I think, moments of the show is that moment right there in the playoffs. So.
Well, it actually shocked us. That's the great thing about it. It's it's
genuinely.
Whoa.
Yeah. I expected it. I expected the games to be high. I did not expect the Lakers pick over OKC.
I just think that's what's cool about the NBA, though, man. You just really don't know with these series, and you've seen big upsets. So the Bucks got beat when they were the 1 seed, and they should have clearly anybody going in that nobody picked the Heat against them. You're going against Giannis in his prime. Jimmy Butler's your best player scorer. So that's the one that you would never pick. What was it? The We Believe Warriors against the Mavs with Dirk. No way in hell most people would pick those guys to actually win. So I don't know. It's one of those things, but I was going with the experience of the Mavs. If they were healthy and if they could have actually got out of the play. I'm never picking a play-in team again.
It's just too hard of a road as a play-in,
Yeah.
It's a longer.
Well, and there's a reason typically why they're in the play-in. I mean, I know they had the late trade and they had a couple good moments, but there's usually a reason why they're in that situation. But Josh, at the same time, OKC hadn't gone on a run like this. I mean, they had shown some signs of goodness or greatness. They obviously had a good regular season, but you don't know. Are they gonna shit the bed in the playoffs? Are they gonna actually, play?
My logic was Dallas's height with Anthony Davis, Gafford, and Lively, and the fact that OKC is very much an at the bucket kind of team and mid-range team. That was a lot of my whole logic with that of why I thought if Dallas would have beat freaking Memphis, because Memphis to me just wasn't a good matchup, and in particular with OKC, but it is what it is.
Man, OKC almost looks like, if you look at them on the roster and almost in the way they play, they almost look like an old school team. They've got the bigs inside. They don't shoot a ton of threes like the rest of the league. They say they can, but they don't tend to shoot a ton of threes. They tend to do the mid-range game. They move the ball pretty well for the most part, unless they get in that one-on-one stuff. They just kind of look like constructed like an old school team, which is interesting that they took people down with that.
I think honestly, man, one of my biggest takeaways from the finals and just like the whole season is I think most of these teams now got to like really reevaluate this whole big three era and and just get away from it. I just don't. I think after seeing those two teams get to where they just got to, and with their style of play and how they played, like you can't, and with how inconsistent the big threes have worked outside of the Miami Heat, like hasn't worked for Philly, hasn't worked for Brooklyn, didn't work for Phoenix, and there's others that I'm missing on this as well, but it's just not. It doesn't seem like the path.
Yeah, the depth is what you need, really, and you saw that with OKC, and I mean even Indiana. It's like because you can't have three alphas. You can't even really. It just doesn't work, right? And you need those guys that are going to fill the role that needs to be filled, and maybe they have one or two games in the playoffs that puts them over. It helps them win a game, but you just got to have guys that can grind. And I like your take on that, Josh.
You can have a big three, but like when I think about like some of the big threes, they've all been really, I think, distinct in what they can do. Like if you look at the big three in Boston, you had a great 3-point shooter, you had a little bit of an inside presence, and then you had Paul Pierce that kind of can play a little bit of everywhere. I think you have the same thing when you look at the Bulls. You had Jordan that could do everything. You had Pippen, who was a real facilitator. You had Rodman, who was a defensive rebounder guy. They had their roles, and then you had the support cast around them. You get three great scores, for example, that's not going to work. So I think it's the composition of the big three and the team that's around them.
I think that's what the difference is like the Rodmans and the Pippins. They're not number one guys.
Right.
They're very, very good 2s and 3s, which is really, I think, what you're looking for. But when you've got guys that can lead the league in scoring and you put Kyrie Irving and James Harden and Kevin Durant all on the same team, or Paul George and James and Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, who can all really reach 30 in a season. Same thing with the Suns, Durant and Beal and Booker. It's just that's tough, man.
Well, and I know like it was at the end of his career, but when Pippen went to Portland, he's not number one. He's a solid number 2. He's not a number 1 option.
Yeah. And Kale, you 100%. Probably remember they were talking about that with Clay for a little bit. Like, oh, let Clay go and be a number 1 somewhere. It's like, no, Clay is not going to be number 1, man. He's a catch and shoot kind of guy. Right. And the reason why he works so well with Steph is because Steph just draws the whole attention. Clay's not taking anybody off the dribble, and
There's a reason he had that game with 11 dribbles and whatever points he had. 11 dribbles. It's like that's the game. Just catch and shoot. So
Steph Curry does 11 dribbles every possession. I mean, it's not even close to the same, but.
Exactly. 60 points, 11 dribbles.
It'll be interesting if people, if GMs start to think that way. If they start to see this pattern that we're talking about. If not, maybe we have to
watch our show. They learn something.
That's right. They should watch the show.
They should.
I'll have to put it out there for them. So
that's right.
All right. Way too early picks for next year. West Finals. Who are your 2 teams? We don't necessarily need to crown a champion, but who are your teams in the finals for the West?
I mean, it's hard not to put OKC. I feel like you got to put OKC.
Yeah.
It's too early because you got to. I feel like there's just teams where you got to sort of see. I don't know, man. I really think like you got to watch how some of these teams develop their bench. So like the 2 teams that stick out to me, at least right now, that I would at least watch out for are Denver and Houston. Like their starting lineups are good. They got pieces and stuff, but if they have a bench, both of them can go a long way. But if they don't, then no.
Yeah. I like OKC obviously for they're a champion, and I think I like Houston if they can. To your point, if they can meld well, and they have such great length. They're
gonna be nice.
Oh, it's just like, and I know I've mentioned Amin Thompson, but that guy's defense, I mean,
insane.
He is just like
dog.
oh my goodness, it's so impressive to play at that level of defense for a whole game. It's not one possession. It's like he gave Curry fits. I know they didn't win, but he was a big reason why that they were in that series. And I think they get better with that trade potentially. I mean, you never know how people meld, and the KD saga has not worked out well for anybody else the last 6+ years post Warriors, but he's still, an elite bucket getter, and that's what they really with Jalen Green. I mean, he disappeared in the playoffs.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So, I mean, I really like Houston from that perspective, but time will tell.
Okay, here's my controversial take on KD. I actually think that KD is a number 2. I don't think he's a number 1. He's a number 2.
Yeah, I don't agree.
Let me tell you why. When was he actually best? When did this whole thing actually work out? Who was he playing with? When it all worked out. Steph Curry. Steph Curry makes everything happen. KD benefited from that. And that's when he had his best. I feel like his most consistent and best play was in Golden State. Now you might say, well, he was 1, but I still think that Steph Curry is the engine there. I still think.
They were 1A, 1B. Like I don't know if you can fully say like one of the other.
But has he been successful as a 1?
Was he a number 1 in OKC? They went to the finals in OKC.
Yeah,
but who was the playmaker? He had Westbrook as the playmaker again, making things happen. At that time, Russell Westbrook
Durant was number 1. He's also like one shoe size smaller from making the finals.
Okay, let me say this. I think a number 1 is somebody who can be a number 1 anywhere. Like you put Steph Curry anywhere, and he's still doing what he does. But you take KD off of
the Kawhi Leonard one was already wild enough. If you're about to say top 15 player of all time, Kevin Durant's not a number 1. I know you just won and absolutely destroyed me in this whole little guessing thing. But we cannot say Kevin Durant's a number 2. We can't.
I'm just saying
Durant's not a number 2.
If you look at his performance, he's best with a playmaker. Who makes him better? Makes him play well.
The thing is that Steph Curry is like generational, never seen before.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook breaking the triple doubles record at that time wasn't generational.
No.
Well, that didn't happen.
That
didn't happen when he had KD.
Yeah, and that's true too. That was also like post, more like Houston Rockets, and multiple years later. The thing that is just like different about Steph, man, that everybody, and this is why I think like separates him amongst all other guys. And it's the same, like, and to me, like, this is the comparison of just who he's going to be making Hall of Famers with Klay and Draymond. Because Klay and Draymond, we know, like, they may have never been all-stars without Steph, but it's literally like the gravitational pull that Steph has on the court for spacing and like the easiest shots for others. There's so many players that play with Steph and are like, got the most easiest open shots playing with Steph more than any other team, any other player because of what he does. And, for example, like when you watch KD's 2 shots that he had against Cleveland that were the same identical shots, the 3-pointers and stuff, like KD gets to go one-on-one, doesn't have to worry about a double team.
Mm-hmm.
Any other team, man, he's got to like worry about that. And then like when you watch Steph from 21 and like beyond, like the year before they won the chip, the year they won the chip, literally like doubled and triple team constantly. And like no other player gets that stuff at half court. LeBron doesn't, KD doesn't, any of them don't. So it's just like, to me, it's the fact of actually being on Steph's team that really did benefit him, but it's also because of like how Steph plays in comparison to Westbrook.
Trey, I get what you're saying. Like it hasn't worked since.
But yeah, no, I get the angle too.
But also at the same time, it also comes up with roster construction, right? Like, yeah, you can say KD pulls a lot of the strings. Yeah, he wanted his friends there, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it comes down to how are they putting the pieces around KD, the number 1 option, to get them to the finals. It can't just be let's put, like you said, the big 3 movement is over and it's done. We've seen that. So like now he's in a position where he's got a lot of talent around him that fit in other positions, and they're not just 3 number 1 options and go out there and play bully ball and go get it done.
All right, I'll compromise on this. KD is a 1B. I'll compromise on that. I don't think he's a number 1, like a typical number 1. That's what I'm gonna say.
Still a 1.
Still a 1.
Yeah. All right. Here's my other controversial take is I'm going OKC in the finals, but I'm going to put Minnesota up there. I think that Ant's going to be really pissed about this season, how it went. I think they're going to be motivated. I haven't heard anything, but I'm curious how they respond. Being a young team who's had a little taste and just hasn't quite gotten over the hump, are they going to continue that, or are they going to get to the finals? I think this is the year they get to the finals.
I lost some faith in the Timberwolves.
Yeah,
and with Ant after the season, I don't think the media helped because they really were trying to push Ant for the face of the league and stuff, but it just needs and should be SGA.
No, it definitely is. I think that's going to motivate him out. I think he's going to see that, and that's going to motivate him. Hopefully, he works harder. Hopefully, plays better defense. Maybe gets the team going around him. I don't know. We'll see how they respond, but that's my second controversial pick. Is I'm going to go OKC Minnesota.
Well, and I think for Minnesota, Julius Randle got exposed. You know, he had a great postseason, then he got exposed, and that's the Julius Randle that I remember.
Yes. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of those pieces where I'm like, I'm not sure that's the right piece. Like, he's gonna have to either change or he's gonna have to go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Let's see what happens.
Well, they're gonna make moves.
Trade. You know, yeah.
They're gonna make moves. I mean, for example, there's been rumors that Naz Reid could potentially be on the move. They lose Naz Reid, that's a huge miss.
Yeah.
DiVincenzo has been a name that's been thrown out there to potentially get traded, which probably would make sense.
Yeah.
And I just still believe, man, that they're not going to get it unless they get rid of Chris Finch.
Yeah,
I'm a certified Chris Finch hater.
That's a big part of it. I mean, coach, as we saw, coaching matters, you know, in these playoffs.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about the East? What's your way too early picks for the East?
I'm going to go first. I'm going to say Knicks Magic.
Magic. Let's go, Tommy. I'm with you on that one, baby.
Let's go, man. I think the Desmond Bane trade is huge. I think that's exactly what they were missing. I think they were really missing some really good shooting. I think that, I mean, you know, it's a blockbuster deal for them, but getting rid of KCP, who didn't play well at all, Cole Anthony, who's been super inconsistent. I mean, getting a good player like Desmond Bane, who held down Minnesota whenever, or not Minnesota, Memphis whenever, you know, whenever Ja was out. Like, yeah, I think it's a no-brainer move for the Magic, and I think it propels them into the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Josh, you agree with that? Are you going Knicks Magic as well, or?
No, I honestly, dude, I don't know. I think the East is such a toss-up. Like, after seeing the Pacers do their thing, to me, like, I mean, Pacers without Tyrese next year, you pretty much, in my opinion, kind of have to count them out, unfortunately, because I think they would be in the mix if they maintain their team. I'm not picking them, but I'm very intrigued by both the Magic and the Pistons. I'm really curious to see what moves Pistons make, dude. I am very bullish on Cade Cunningham, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I think Clayton might be back too.
I think I'm going to go Knicks Pistons. That's how I'm feeling. Knicks Pistons. I think Orlando will get to the third round or the second round. They're going to be good, but I want to see this. I'm going emotional pick on the Pistons. I just want to see them in the finals.
Yeah, they almost had the Knicks, so
they did.
I think the Knicks will be pretty fired up from last year because I think that their expectations were a lot higher, and I think they're going to be pretty fired up.
Yep. And you can already go ahead and book the Hawks for a playoff spot next year, fellas. I'm going to go ahead and call it right now.
Let's go.
Trey, Dyson Daniels, the great barrier thief, and Kristaps Porzingis. Come on now.
And you got Risha Shea. Let's go.
Risha Shea. Look at you, Tommy. You know how to pronounce his last name and everything.
I know, man. I'm about to get me a jersey, man.
I don't know if Trey and Kale would have pronounced that correct.
No, I couldn't have. How do you think they're going to be a playing team? They're going to qualify in, and how deep are they going to go?
I think they're a solid playoff team.
I think they can make a 5 or 6 spot.
Yeah,
but possibly, because they're going to be able to score and play defense.
Right, and you got to figure the Pacers are not going to be up there next year because of their situation. They're going to be out. Boston's not. Boston's going to struggle next year. There's a good chance that you could see those teams going to slide up.
I think Boston's going to shoot more 3-pointers next year than they did this year.
That would be crazy.
Because they got Simons,
that would be crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, he chucks him.
That's it. What we're doing.
I know, it's crazy. Wow. All right, so what about the draft? Just kind of a, obviously you got Cooper Flagg. What a situation to go to for him. But, I mean, what's another takeaway that's maybe a little bit less on the radar for each of you?
Well, I feel like I missed this completely. I had no idea that 2 Rutgers players would be in the top 5. I didn't see that at all. I didn't really pay attention to the college game last year until the March Madness, but I didn't. They were off my radar completely.
They were supposed to be 2 and 3. The other kid just wasn't. He's just been a total
a-hole.
Yeah, he should have been number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was projected number 3 this whole time until he just doesn't show up to meetings and draft interviews and all this stuff.
I think that guy's going to be an epic failure because did you see they listed him as 6'10"? He's really like 6'7", which is still a great wing player. But also, I just saw an announcement today that they told a top 5 team not to draft him, which is probably the Hornets. Because he wasn't going to go 1 and he wasn't going to go 2.
Yeah.
And he went 5. So it was probably the Hornets like, do not draft me. And I mean, what a horrible way to start your career.
Yeah. Out of the gate, man. That's brutal.
Tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew the Hornets were going to take Con Knipple, man. They strictly draft Duke and UNC guys. Like they have never changed up their draft strategy. They are the worst drafters of all time.
Yes, they are.
But I will say I actually like the Con Knipple pick. So I think he'll be a good pro. The Ace Bailey situation, I mean, man, it even sounds like nobody knows if he's even going to show up to. I can't remember if it's either today or Monday, but he's supposed to show up there. Hopefully he does, man. I love the freaking Walter Clayton pick. I can't stand how these GMs just don't take these guys and they let them fall so early. I think this goes into like the Jalen Brunson conversation. We talked about this earlier this year, but proven winners, can shoot, can defend, clutch. Like why would you not want the guy on your team?
Yeah.
Why is he falling that deep? It just I don't get it at all.
Yeah, because I mean that could be a great pick for the Jazz. And I've seen him described as a stronger, bigger Jalen Brunson.
I mean, the dude shoots lights out.
Oh,
yeah. And he's
what
clutch.
did he have? 3 games of over 30 in the tournament? I mean,
right. Yeah.
A borderline Tyrese Halliburton kind of run in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Clutch shot after clutch shot after clutch shot. He had at least 3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I think Go ahead.
Go ahead, Tommy.
I was gonna say VJ Edgecombe for the Sixers. I'm very hyped, man. Like the Sixers have been drafting really well. Like they have him, Jared McCain, like Jaden Springer. Man, they've drafted really well the last the last few draft picks they've had. I'm really hyped about those 2 picks.
Yeah,
just get rid of Paul George, man. Just get rid of Paul George.
Get rid of Paul George. Yeah, get
him out of there.
He needs to be retired.
Yeah.
So my feel good story for the draft is Cedric Coward. Started at Division III Willamette University in Salem, Oregon, and was in walk freshman of the year, and then transferred to Washington State, and just blew up, and gets drafted in the first round. I mean, a Division III.
That's pretty awesome.
That's a Scottie Pippen-esque story, a Dennis Rodman-esque story of just like coming in, nobody even heard of him, and then top 10 pick, whatever, first round.
Right.
That's a hard climb.
Yeah, because he went
that's falling out,
and then Washington State. So he had 3 stops along the way.
Yeah, that's balling out, man. That's the kind of guy too. Like somebody who grinds like that, who's not given anything, has to earn everything. Man, that's a character guy. That's cool.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a really solid draft. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know all these picks. If I'm being honest, like same thing, Trey. I never watched Rutgers. I paid a little bit of attention to Dylan Harper, who seems like he's going to be a really solid pro. I really haven't seen much of Ace Bailey. I mean, what a freaking situation for Flagg because he's going into a contender. Like we can't leave Dallas out for next year if they stay healthy.
Yeah,
they can beat OKC next year if they stay healthy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that they can't.
Picking it now?
So,
You calling it now?
100% they could beat OKC with that roster if they're all healthy. Absolutely.
Could. That's a different word than will. Could. Yeah.
They could.
Not a
for
will
sure.
yet, just a could.
Yep. But no, I think the offseason is going to be interesting. There's going to be more shakeups. I feel like Phoenix has to make more moves. I think that Philly has to make more moves. We don't really know what's going on with Giannis right now. That's a big question mark that's out there and stuff. So it'll be fun to watch. There's just too much that we have to wait to happen before I feel like more predictions and stuff.
Yeah, it's way too early.
Yeah.
And then,
all right, Kale, listen, we got to talk about next year real quick. I know we got to get out of here, but we got to talk about next season. So we're gonna kick this thing off, I believe, the first Friday in October next year, if not earlier. That's what we're looking for. And we're gonna do a little entry fee because I'm gonna say I'm a little disappointed that there's not a plaque or a trophy in my hands. And if we have an entry fee, maybe we can afford some sort of some hardware.
I'm with it. Let's do it
next year.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Like $25, just to get people involved and get their picks in and build it. This is so much fun. It's like just get more people involved and just grow it.
Heck yeah.
I think the other thing that I'm gonna request for all season is we have to have an appearance on the show from the other Lyles brother. We have what are we doing here? We have a connection to an ESPN analyst who loves ball and he didn't make the show once. We gotta change this.
I'll see if I can get. Yeah, we'll make that an objective next year to get him on the show.
Hashtag
bring Harry on.
Yeah,
he might have. Maybe
he legit may have some crazier takes than me if I'm being honest.
I love it.
He could.
Maybe we can get him to join us for the Warriors Rockets game in Oakland or in San Francisco with our boy Tyson. Maybe we can get him out there for that. Yeah. Maybe we can make an appearance on ESPN. Let's just go the other way. Maybe we can set up a little table.
That's gonna happen.
Have Harry can say, I've got some guests on the show today. These transportation dudes that love ball. I got to get them on here and talk about their picks.
We need a bigger audience before that's even a possibility. But hey, it's good to have goals, right?
Always that draws the bigger audience. You get Harry on, you get an ESPN certified analyst on. That draw. Just got to think the other way. We got to get him on, and then we'll get the audience.
No, I'll see if we'll get him on one of the shows for next year. We're going to get to go to the ESPYs in a couple weeks, so that's going to be fun.
Sweet.
Nice.
I won't get to see Mahomes. I will get to see Jalen Hurts. But it's going to be a good time.
Enjoy it for this year. Have a good time with it. Mahomes and Kelsey's freaking in shape, y'all. Y'all better watch out. The Chiefs are pissed. So
yeah,
that's gonna be fun.
Hey, I will say that on Wednesday or Wednesday when Trey and I played golf, he didn't mention the Chiefs, and we were together for like
5 hours.
Yeah, 5
plus 6 hours. Yeah,
didn't hear anything about the Chiefs.
The Chiefs are just they're Trey, Kelsey, Mahomes got the haircut.
This is my favorite time. This is my favorite time to be quiet because I love hearing all of these analysts at this time of year talk about how the Chiefs are going to finish second in the West and might not even be a playoff team, which is things I've heard in the last. I just let people talk. Just let them talk. I'm enjoying it. We'll see.
Behind
we'll see what happens.
Who would they be second to?
Denver, because they've got Denver's actually a solid team. They got a great quarterback. Sometimes they say the Chargers because Herbert's good, but the Chargers just never come through. But I think behind Denver is what they're saying right now.
Yeah.
Which again, I get it. Like on paper, and Denver played them tough last year. They're a good team.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Until the Chiefs lose it, it's hard to pick against them. That's going to be.
Yeah, I wouldn't be on that bandwagon.
Nope.
Yeah, but they got to have a crazy pick like Josh. They got to have some crazy picks just to get buzz with some clicks.
Yeah, pick the Raiders.
Gotta have them.
Pick the Raiders.
Coleman Ruffin, a diehard Raiders fan, doesn't even pick the Raiders. I mean, he's realistic about it. He understands.
Chiefs could be scary. Chiefs could be scary next year.
Yeah. All right, we better wind this up. I got to get out of here. So
cool.
Thanks, gents.
Boys, it's been great.
Thanks, y'all.
Yes,
been a lot of
great
fun
stuff, fellas. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. See ya.
Congrats, Trey.
Congrats, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Champion.